Miyu Yum. In our language, that means welcome to all. Thank you for joining us today in celebration of our Mother Earth. My name is Ellen Sue, and I'm a member of the Juaneño Band of Mission Indians, a Hashiman Nation. To my right is tribal member Adelia, and to my left is Mariah. Today we'd like to be speaking about baskets and the materials that are used. Before we begin with the basketry, I would like to acknowledge our ancestors and talk a little bit about the relationship they had with the land that they lived upon. They had a great deal of respect and protection. They tended to the land, they cared for the land. This is what sustained them. They had an ecological knowledge of the land and the environment. They knew about the sun, the moon, the stars, the tides, the streams, the migration of birds and animals. They had a lot of respect and care and gratitude for things around them. They kept a very good balance. They had to. This is what sustained them. If they didn't care for the plants and animals around them, they couldn't feed their families, they couldn't have shelter, they couldn't have medicines, they couldn't have foods. So this was very important to them. This knowledge was passed through generations for thousands of years, and it's still passed on to us today. Here we have a few of the native plant materials that we use for the basketry here. We have yucca, which is used for the heart of the basket, or the beginning or the start of the basket. The foundation is deer grass. You can see Mariah cleaning it here. All this work's very tedious. The wrap is usually made of juncus, which grows in long reeds. We have some here at the mission. This plant is called Juncus Textilis, and it was used extensively in Native American baskets. It was very plentiful. It grew by the sides of rivers and streams. And here at the mission, in this particular valley, there were actually streams on both sides of the mission. The bottom part, or we call it the earth, has a nice brown reddish color that was most desirable for making baskets. When the Native Americans colored the baskets, they would sometimes dip this and soak it in a mud that was rich in iron stores to color it, like the brown or black that you see. So this was a very desirable plant and was plentiful at one time. So baskets all had a purpose and a function. I think the most common question that I'm asked by the children and visitors here at the mission, they'll come by and say, I heard that you could weave a basket so tightly it could carry water. That's a very common question that I get. And you could, but sometimes, as in this water vessel, when it wasn't, it was covered with a pine pitch to kind of seal it, or an asphaltum, which is that little sticky tar stuff you find at the ocean. So this was a water vessel. There were storage baskets, there were food processing baskets, there were gathering baskets, such as these open twine baskets. Sumac was also used, and so was willow. This is called a granary basket. It has a particular property in it called salicin, which is a natural insecticide. So a lot of berries, nuts, things like that were stored in this type of basket. And some of them were very, very large. Baskets were used for shelter as well. Quiches, our house, it's like a big upside down basket. It was made of tule and willow. This is an old basket. This is probably just a storage basket, but you can see how it's turned, and this is a juncus, deer grass, and yucca. These are more contemporary baskets. Sometimes we use pine needles these days. Gathering's always very challenging, particularly in these times. We have to worry about many things. Development, we can't go back to the places that we once could gather. We have to worry about contamination and runoff. We have to worry about pesticides. So it's very challenging. So a lot of times, just so we can gather, we use pine needles and beads. These are more contemporary.
Before we leave you today, we would like to say in our language, Cham Shun Lovik, and that means that our hearts are full and are happy. And another way that we say thank you is Om Palov, which also means a little bit similar, but it's easy for us to say. So we all say
Om Palov.